If you eat the same amount of calories as a diabetic versus someone who's not diabetic, do you think it will have the same effect on your weight?
I don't think so.
You feel like you know a lot and you're extremely dangerous, not in a good way.
We try to run away from the truth.
Most what people don't think about before they start the journey, there is a trade-off of maintaining an insanely lean physique all year round. It's not easy. It's very hard.
I don't want to be like this when I'm older. The way I am right now, by 40, by 50, I'm going to be...
I'm a doctor, so I should know, so you should listen to me, which is complete bullshit.
Have to wake up and do something for yourself.
Think of your body like this. It's a machine. It responds to whatever you put in it and whatever stimulus you apply to it. Your body has no choice.
My typical breakfast was around 2,700 calories back then.
If you train with professional bodybuilders, you know training is also huge because the details is just immense. It doesn't end. It never ends. But nutrition itself is bigger than medicine. Raja, nice to meet you, brother. I've seen your pictures, very impressive.
Same here.
I've seen the pose also. You have very impressive posing skills.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on that.
Yeah, it's been very interesting because when I saw it, I think you said more to come. So I'm assuming you mean the journey. So tell me about that. How did it start?
I've always been a lover and an admirer for the sport of bodybuilding in general. I love the aesthetics, how you look, how you train. And I've always had it in me, but I never had the elements around me that will make me reach somewhere. I've always been in a confused state. I used to go train for a month or two and know nothing about nutrition. Since a very young age, since I was 16, I felt that I was strong. I was able to bench press. I was able to do some heavy lifts, but my body was not reflecting it. I was still fat, really overweight. So I maintained a certain physique and a certain like body fat percentage for the longest time ever. I was like around 110, 120 kilos.
And what was your height?
183, 182.
Yeah.
After COVID, I managed to gain even more weight. So it became atrocious, I would say. I bought a scale. I left it for 3 months, being afraid just to put myself on the scale. I was so out of shape. It was scary. I call myself, the version of myself, I call it now as Raja the fridge. So I was like a fridge, you know, like a
square shape.
Yes, exactly. So I reached around 144 kilos.
Wow.
I think I was 50% body fat or something. It was insane. Wearing 44, 46, 44 pants, I remember very well. Super out of shape, out of breath, headaches, migraines, very bad ability to sleep. It was a bad lifestyle. So I had to look at the problems and start to find the easiest solution to start this journey. The easiest solution was to eat one big meal a day for me, because I needed this feeling of being satisfied by a very big meal. But what helped me is sticking to basics.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
I would say great people in any field stick to basics.
100%.
They perfect basics.
I agree.
We don't jump around doing random stuff.
Yeah.
Which is getting my training, getting my sleep, getting enough protein from the available sources, and managing your life around it.
Let me ask you something about this.
Yeah.
The psychological impact this has on you.
Yeah.
Because confidence really happens from within. Okay. So when someone is confident and someone acts confident, we know, like, we feel whether they're trying to fake it or they're actually confident. We know this, right? So tell me about the psychological impact. The first time you saw this, and did it take a while for you to believe that you were this kind of guy now? Or did it sink in straight away and you started acting like, yeah, I'm confident, I'm getting fit?
I've always been confident for who I am as a person from the inside, but never for who I am from the outside. So if people know me and I have a chat with them, it's very easy to chat.
Yeah.
And I'm confident and I don't have any issues with that, zero issues. But I've always had it in the back of my mind when I meet someone new. What is the impression, what I'm wearing, I'm adjusting my t-shirt every 2 seconds.
So perhaps this is the start. Perhaps this is the driver. You know, this is also as a coach, it's also what I want to hear from people when they come and sit with me. I'm doing this for me now, not to please my husband or wife or my friends or because I'm afraid of people's judgment. It's a huge key. Let's do one thing. Let's go through the journey from the beginning. I want you to tell me maybe top 5 confusing things about the industry that you've come across. We'll try to break them down. And then I want to discuss the methods you've used so far and then tell you why they worked and perhaps how you need to adjust them moving forward to get the kind of physique that you want to get later on. Okay? So start with the confusing facts. What is the first thing that confused the hell out of you?
Why coaches train beginners like that?
I'm gonna upset some people. Okay, so the industry is very easy to get into. So in the UK, we have a personal training course that is 6 weeks, literally. I don't know if you know a lot about this, but to me, this is insane. It used to be a degree. So it used to be you have to go to uni and study for 3 years. And now it is 6 weeks. The vast majority, I would say 95% of this course is theory. It's not even practical. For such a practical job, something you do in the gym floor. You're in the gym floor showing people the way, demonstrating exercises, correcting things that they do wrong. To study 6 weeks and 95% of that is theory is kind of crazy. So it's a low barrier, entry. It's a lot of rubbish get into the industry because of this. So this is the first thing. So you have a lot of trainers with the right intention, but without the right education. An intention by itself doesn't mean anything. You have to have the right education. So you have a lot of personal trainers around the gym thinking they're doing the right thing, i.e. the program that worked for them, they apply it to other people because there's no education. And they think it's going to work. And then they get confused. Why isn't it working with, Fat Susie? Because Fat Susie is not you. And she hasn't had, she's not your age, she's not even your gender. She hasn't had the lifestyle, the struggles, the beliefs that you had when you started your journey. Everybody's different. And unless you have the wide base of knowledge that you can pick from and adapt to different individuals based on all these factors, you're not going to get them to do well. So you don't have coaches. You have training bodies that get paid. You have expensive friends on the gym floor trying to market how cute they are and how friendly they are to get paid. But they don't have the knowledge to support the results. And the proof, just in case, before anyone disagrees with me, if you go into any personal trainers, the vast majority of them, they have no results to demonstrate what they do. You're in the industry literally of achieving results for people. And if you have no results, what are you doing in the industry? So this is the first reason. The second reason a lot of trainers get into the industry for the wrong reasons, because they think it's a quick buck, easy money. And this is so common in the UK. They know who they are now as they listen to this. Maybe, they know, they get offended, but it's true. Some trainers even get into the industry for the girls because personal trainers get attention. In my opinion and experience, you only do well for people when you want to help them because people know the difference. And people only listen to you when you have pure intentions about helping them. I take it maybe to the extreme a little bit. I'm a bit rough, with the people that I train. I don't negotiate my principles. They have to follow what I say, but I get results for people, and they're always grateful later on, even if it sucks in the beginning. So, intention for me is the number one thing that you have to clarify before you get into the industry. And then you have people, the continuous answer to your question. You have people that are naturally in good shape because they have good genetics, and they post that on Instagram. And then they tell people, look, I know what I'm doing because I look good. And that's not true. In the spectrum of genetic profiles that we have in the world, come on, like the vegan bodybuilder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So genetic freak marketing himself as the person with the ultimate knowledge to help this group of people. And they just make money without actually helping anybody. So this is what the industry is looking like now. And it's something that I deeply care about, and it makes me sad. But I think these are the problems we need to attack.
I totally agree with that. And I've seen a lot of examples in my journey, how people come for 2-3 sessions and you never see them again.
Yes.
It upsets me.
Yeah.
You as a personal trainer, sometimes you hold the responsibility of being the first impression
100%.
for this change in their life. But you are responsible for something great.
Yes.
But people take it, okay, he booked like 10 sessions with me this month. Khalas, I made this X amount of money. And I don't care.
100%.
So
And in a place like Dubai, where people have money and they can invest in personal
yes.
training, there is surplus of clients. So money is not really the issue here. It is trust. And if you meet a good coach and they justify the investment, you will keep going back.
Of course.
And if you have a portfolio of results that you've achieved for people, you will bring their friends. So if you're a trainer and you hear this, please focus on results. Make it your number one focus and priority for the people that work with you, and take all the responsibility, take all the blame. Full accountability on you. When someone doesn't do well, you say, that's my fault. For not holding them accountable, for not being able to influence them, for not giving them the correct advice. But take the responsibility. And then you'll end up improving, doing better. And maybe if you're not good now, maybe a few months later you'll be better. And that's the whole game. We improve as we train people. I do all the time. Now, thousands of people that I worked with, every transformation that I do now still teaches me something. And it gives me some sort of, key that I take with me into the next journey with the next person that I'm going to help. And it teaches me something about what I need to do with them. And you have to challenge yourself, because if you are in this industry, you are maybe the closest thing to an athlete trying to break the records all the time. And it's how you should be driven by the performance of these people and what you achieve for them.
Gatekeeping some info from people.
Gatekeeping.
Yeah.
As a trainer?
I would say they don't want to give you the whole picture of how things are.
Why it works? Because then you continue, you remain right. So gatekeeping information is insecurity.
Yep.
But it's also a huge indication of someone that doesn't know anything. Because if you know something, if you know a lot about this, there's so much to know. And you also know people don't have the mental capacity, if they don't do this for a living, they don't really have the mental capacity to sit down and study for years, But there's one thing that I agree with here. If I teach you everything about everything there is to know, about nutrition, for example, I'll end up confusing you even more. What I ought to do as a coach or as a nutritionist, I need to identify what works for you, right? For my assessment from the very beginning, I need to know what kind of physiological state that you're in, hormonal challenges that you go through, your past, your beliefs, your struggles, and I need to then tailor a plan that works for you. Because you're an individual, you're very different to the next person. And then I need to teach you as much as possible about that. Not about everything else that is not relevant to you, okay? But when a trainer comes across protective over, what they think they know, I promise you this. This is one of the things that when you know little about, you feel like you know a lot, and you're extremely dangerous, not in a good way, right? Because you think you know, and then you just end up causing damage. Nutrition is huge. I mean, if you train with professional bodybuilders, training is also huge, because the details is just immense. It doesn't end. It never ends. But nutrition itself is bigger than medicine. Like, a lot of doctors struggle to understand nutrition because of how big the subject is. But okay, so here's the shocking fact. In this 6 weeks course that I talked to you about, there's probably about 1 or 2 days of nutrition that these guys study. And all they study is how to count calories, count macros, and some stuff like really shallow about micronutrients. Very, very shallow. Now you take this, the combined information of these 2 days, and then how the hell are you going to design a nutrition plan for somebody with different goals? Because not everybody's trying to lose weight or build muscle, right? It's quite crazy. But yeah, it's a big indication if someone doesn't know anything.
I understand. I agree with everything you said, but I feel like they are afraid of telling the big picture. Like, they have to be very straightforward in certain things in terms of, for example, what a calorie deficit is, supplements. People until now, they think that in order to get in shape, you have to buy whey protein, you have to do this, you have to wake up in the morning and take 2 spoons of apple cider vinegar. This is what I'm talking about. It's much simpler than that, but the details, they never end. And the proof to what you just said is the amount of new studies that are coming up. We are being bombarded with new studies. Old things that we thought is dangerous, now it's apparently safe. People used to think eating a lot of protein is bad for you. Yes. Now people is advocating, eating more protein. So it's an update. It's updates crazily, and everybody has a different view, and everybody, it works with them differently.
Let me ask you something here. what kind of person do you need to be to constantly go out, research, find the studies, update your knowledge? You have to be extremely passionate about what you do.
Very true.
Now, go back to what I said about the reason the vast majority of trainers get into the industry. I think it's a quick buck, no passion. They go in it for the wrong reasons, such as gain attention. No passion, right? You have to dedicate your life, which is why, by the way, this is why this is extremely hard. You have to dedicate your life to this. It's a huge topic. You can't just go, all right, I'm just going to turn up and do my best. You have to research. And it keeps you up. And it's a nightmare, honestly. So without this, without true love for this craft and for what you do, I don't think you'll make it. I don't think you'll be exceptional at it. So my point here, when you say, why do they do it? The short answer, I guess, is because you don't have enough passion to update the knowledge, but they shouldn't be in the industry. They should find another job.
And they're trying to keep whatever little information they have. They think they're gonna keep you wanting for more and stuff like that. Yeah.
People don't pay for information anymore. Information is everywhere. You know, you can find all this information everywhere. You don't need your trainer for information. You need them to help you apply the information. So, which is where experience comes in. You know, so if you don't want to, if you feel like when people know what you know, they're not gonna need you, you're stupid. It doesn't work like that.
I agree.
People need the accountability that you bring to their lives. Coaching is the highest form of accountability. You have an opportunity to take someone and to genuinely change their life. And unless that's what you want, they're not going to listen to you. You see? And, you know, when I say they can find another job, they can find another job in the same gym. They can be a cleaner in the gym, like if they love the place so much. But they shouldn't be advising people on how to live. I feel a lot of frustrations from you about the industry. And this is good because it means you see it clearly and you see it for what it is. It's a broken industry.
It is.
It's really bad.
Trust me, I get annoyed because I am very passionate about this.
Yes, I can tell.
So I get annoyed when I see wrong ideas being scattered to right and left. I get annoyed when I see trainers training people a certain way. Certain ideologies, I think, has to die. خلاص, now we are in 2024, almost 2025. It should be much easier on us. Plus, people are not willing to invest time to learn about this. You said something very important, how big nutrition is. It's very important. It's part of who we are. It's gonna dictate our health, our looks, how do we feel. It's crazy.
Did you know emotional eating is a sign of stress, chronic stress?
Yep.
Yeah, so, you know, one of the questions that I ask in the assessment about chronic stress, adrenal fatigue, and, you know, the love handles, the lower belly fat, the stubborn fat as a result of cortisol, stress, chronic cortisol. And one common behavior is emotional eating. So you just made me think nothing is really separate. It's all connected. So how you feel and how you eat and the impact that it has on your body and then the impact it has on your confidence. You see, it's a circle.
Yep.
And most people are stuck. You're right. But you broke that cycle.
You mentioned such a core thing that I want to say in this podcast. The cycle. We try to run away from the truth. The truth is you have to take care of yourself. This cycle, a lot of people are stuck because they don't want to handle the truth. The truth is you have to wake up and do something for yourself. Even if you want to do any other sports, it's not only the gym. I understand that it's not for everyone. Some people tell me, I don't like lifting weights. Okay, fine. You can do any kind of other sports. You can move.
Let me emphasize your point because I have a lot of mothers come to me. I have a lot of businessmen, like you say, successful people. In fact, a lot of them are my friends. And they come to me. Initially, I know them because they need the kind of help that I give. Extremely successful in every other aspect of life, but they haven't looked after themselves, right? So they look in the mirror one day, mid-40s maybe, the most common.
Yeah.
Fat, lethargic, brain fogs. You know your body talks to you, right? Your body tells you something is wrong. And the more you put it off, the worse it gets. So eventually, these people decide to do something about it, and then they come to me, and then they report. This is reported. The mothers become better mothers. Initially, they don't want to start the journey because they feel bad for taking time away from the children or even money, right? Because the investment, possibly they can't justify it because I can't buy my kids something with this money. And the businessmen who are successful and have no issue with money, they feel better about the time they're going to take away from the previous commitments, business, etc. And now what happens every single time with no fail is that the mothers become happier within themselves, so they become better mothers for the children. And they know from their own that the children prefer having a happy mother, even less time with less money than they would otherwise. And the successful businessmen find out that the businesses perform better because they have more to give. They have more productivity. They're sharper with their decisions. They focus. They're much more focused. They go into a meeting now. You would agree with this. When I do business with someone and the relationship is going to benefit me, i.e., I need some help from this person and they're overweight, my brain judges instantly because this person has to have at least the basic level of commitment to themselves to look after themselves in that way in order for me to believe they can look after me. In my job, which is crazy, by the way, I'll tell you this in a minute, there are some trainers in the UK that are fat and it's a socially accepted thing. So you go into the gym and you see a trainer that is overweight and they still have clients. What the fuck? Excuse my French. It's crazy. So away from the industry, however, I still believe this is true. So if I was a fat coach and someone is coming to me because they're overweight and they say, please help me. I'm like, are you stupid? Like, how am I supposed to be able to help you? And the same happens for doctors. A lot of doctors are overweight and a doctor should be advising you on your health. And now we know you can't be fat and healthy. That used to be said also, one of the myths, that was widely spoken about because they're trying to protect people's feelings, right? Don't upset them. You can be fat and healthy. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You're fat and you're beautiful.
Phobia, you're
right.
Big fat phobic.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And now we know that's not true because the data says otherwise. And now we can't really deny everything we know. And even doctors know that now. So I'd say the perception needs to change. We need to address the problems, black and white, in a direct manner. You need to be fit in order for you to be a better human in all aspects of your life. And this is something in your control. This is the good news. It's in your control. You can do something about this. And if you say anything else, you're just making excuses.
You don't have to do much, actually, to see results.
So you used to think you have to do a lot.
Yes. The general idea of losing weight in the minds of people, I have to wake up in the morning, I have to do. Yes, this is nice, but you can go in the evening.
Yeah.
You can have a 30-minute workout session and 30-minute cardio. Yeah. 1 hour, you're done. You can skip one day if you're tired. You listen to your body. Of course, after you get out of the old mindset of being a lazy person. Because before, I used to be a lazy person. So I used to not like to go to the gym because I'm lazy. I want to stay. But if you listen to your body, you want to recover, you want to sleep more, it's a good thing. Yeah. You're not losing anything. You're not losing progress. You're doing well for your body, for your soul.
Yes, sure.
The small fuck-ups are important. So less is more, I guess. The whole idea of being extremely active all the time is not realistic for anyone.
And it's also not true because even athletes don't really do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you understand the game, you understand recovery is more important than the stimulus.
Yes. That's why I try to take care of my sleep. Yeah. I try to take a day off when I'm actually really tired. I have the ability to see my body more. I see my muscles. So I can get to judge the difference when they relax, when they're pumped, when I eat more carbs. I get to communicate, which is a very cool feeling. You feel like your body is a machine and you control it.
Yeah.
With a press of a button.
You're in control.
Yes.
I think that's the key.
That is amazing.
I suppose the opposite is to be led by your emotions.
Exactly.
Like emotional eating, which makes you feel out of control, which then affects your self-esteem, which then gets you back in this cycle that we talked about.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll talk about the calorie deficit thing that you mentioned. Because again, it's one thing that is talked about a lot now. A lot of people don't understand it because it's not really as simple as that. And then you have people in different stages. And you have diets, that do more or less the same thing. What you did is you restricted the time in which you eat and therefore restricted the calories that you ingest in your 24 hours, which is a very useful tool.
And I used to fast. This is something I forgot. I used to fast for 2 reasons: to restrict my calories and to tame my soul and my appetite, which is something it was bad.
That sounds deep, sounds religious.
You could say so, but it was bad. يعني bad to the level where I used to eat not to be full to the next level of full, not the full that people they're uncomfortable. This was my normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to do this.
You said the highest weight you got to, was it 140?
144.
How did you get there? Give me top 3 habits, top 3 things that you did that you think contributed to the weight gain.
I own a video production agency, and we used to shoot a lot of food.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a foodie myself. I've been cooking since 10 years at home. And fun fact, I have a restaurant. I opened it like five months ago.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I'm into food.
Yeah.
I love food so much, but I have no self-control. I had no self-control. It's accumulated habits. My dad is into the sweets and cakes industry, and I used to go work with him and eat cakes and eat stuff. And I think in 2021, 2022, it was very convenient for me to go to the drive-thru of McDonald's, have breakfast in the morning. I calculated my breakfast the other day.
Mm-hmm. McDonald's breakfast?
Yeah, my typical breakfast was around 2,700 calories back then.
Nice.
It was just my breakfast. Imagine.
The ultimate dirty bulk.
Yes. 2,700 calories, and I used to have lunch and I used to have dinner on the way back home. It was a...
Is that McDonald's?
Yes, ground chicken spicy
Okay.
with a whatever. It used to be a vibe, yeah.
You used to, so you're saying you used to have McDonald's 3 times a day?
A lot of times, yes.
All right.
And nobody used to know about this. It was just me and myself.
This is so interesting.
Yeah.
Because now you're here, you can talk about this, but there is a lot of people who are now struggling with the weight, but they're in denial.
Mm.
And there was a few studies, I don't know if you know about this, but people underestimate the calorie consumption that they take in gestural.
Hell yeah.
And you know, these are studies about overweight people when they're asked about the amount of calories they think they consume. Okay, so I bet you wouldn't have said that when you were eating McDonald's because you want to believe you're not doing terrible.
Funnily enough, there is something about me that never changed. I am very real with myself. So when someone used to try to sugarcoat the fact that I'm fat, I used to tell them, no, I'm fat.
Were you surprised when you tracked your breakfast and you found it was that many calories?
To be honest, yeah, because I was in denial, but I was real with myself. You used to call me anything else. No, I'm fat. I'm overweight. Yeah. This is my reality.
You know it was bad, but you just didn't know how bad it was.
Yep. I was consuming 5-6K calories easily. And I still can do that now.
Legend.
Still I can do that now. That's the issue. But I have to control it.
Yes. I mean, to be honest with you, I do that sometimes when I have different goals. I just do it in a way that doesn't allow me to get fat.
Makes sense.
You know? Which brings me to the next thing, which is calories. When I was less busy, now we have the gyms and we have all these people that we're looking after. But when I was less busy, I would go and give talks a lot. And I would, talk. The BBC would call me for advice on my opinion, nutrition and stuff. And I used to go and give talks with a lot of health professionals, so consultants, doctors. And these guys like to talk about nutrition, but not when I'm in the room. Because that's as far as these studies. So even in the medicine industry, doctors don't know anything about nutrition, really. Like if you really go into deep chats with them about nutrition, they don't know anything.
I had that because I have a lot of my clients that are doctors.
Yeah.
I always have arguments with them about this. Mm-hmm. They have so much outdated data that I just avoid the conversation.
100% true.
Yes.
But do you know why they want you to listen to them?
Why?
It's because of the brand of a doctor.
Uh-huh.
I'm a doctor, so I should know, so you should listen to me. Right?
Yeah, the ego of a doctor.
That's how it is.
Yes.
A doctor should be believed. That's the brand, right? Which is complete bullshit. I train a lot of doctors and I stop them and I correct their misconceptions and I say, this is what you're going to do. And when you see that it works, this is what you're going to advise your patients to do. Because what you're saying, like eggs and cholesterol, right? Nutrition is just a very different industry and they have to respect it the same way we respect medicine. Because all they get taught is how to prescribe medications.
Yep.
And this is a worldwide problem. And they know that. When I used to go into a conference or whatever to give a talk, these guys would not dare talk about nutrition because they know I would jump down their throats. Stick to your topic. I stick to mine. You give the people value in the area that you know and you understand. So calories is the simplest thing to understand about nutrition because it works in numbers, which is why it's widely talked about. But contrast that with a topic like insulin resistant. And insulin resistant is the most common hormonal problem that any population anywhere in the world actually have. But still, when you contrast that, I mean, the amount of people and the amount of, talks, information out there about insulin resistance versus the amount of information about calories, this doesn't really become anything. And the reason people shy away from talking about hormones and the way your body, the state of your physiology and the way your body reacts to food is because it's a lot harder to understand. Now, there are different stages of the journey. If you're 144 and you're trying to lose weight and you eat less, you will lose weight. Very, very simple. But this is this end of the spectrum. Now, if you go to the other end of the spectrum and you're now a physique athlete and you're trying to get in the best shape on the stage, achieve the best symmetry, get below 5% body fat, the conversation is different. You eat 7 times a day and you select your food based on the time of the day and what you're trying to get out of this meal, knowing how your body's going to respond to the combination of this meal, because there's a hormonal response to everything that you put in your mouth, whether you like it or not. So the calorie conversation becomes irrelevant. And although they calorie cycle and they have different methods which they factor calories in, it is not the most important thing. They're not just going to eat 1 meal a day or, have carbs one day. Even to the concept of carb cycling and what normal people do down in the gym, when you get to a certain level, it doesn't work the same way anymore because your body doesn't respond to this kind of stuff anymore because you're way too advanced. My advice to everyone who's, thinking about approaching the fitness journey or the nutrition, changing the nutrition lifestyle only with calories in mind, is to understand the stage you're in. You have to. You have to understand what stage you're in, and calories will apply whether you here or here, but how you apply them and what rank of priorities they will fall under. That is the conversation we have. But it's not everything. And the more you know about nutrition, the more you understand this. Because here is a study for you. You like studies. Mm-hmm. Talking of insulin resistant. Type 2 diabetes is as bad as it gets. That's when your insulin is not working, right? If you eat the same amount of calories as a diabetic versus someone who's not diabetic, do you think it will have the same effect on your weight?
I don't think so.
Why?
The insulin.
Because your body responds different to the same amount of calories, even if you eat the same foods. There's a group of diabetics, they put them on a diet for 8 weeks. And this diet was basically more calories, but less carbs. So less triggers for insulin, for the pancreas. And they lost weight. That is also to say, when they ate less of the wrong foods, they gained weight. Mm-hmm. Right? So you really have to understand the state of your body and why it responds to certain dietary ways in a different way, but also the stage you're in. Because if you're overweight, anything works. Anything will work. But the more advanced you get, the more you will need to get into the details and to dig down into the small details of things.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is something you would need to consider as you approach the next level of your transformation.
I am actually always have something in my mind which I think helped me reach what I am today, which is I know that the more I go into this, the more I have to, it will be harder in terms of diet, in terms of what you do, in terms of the effort you will do, because you're going to a new extreme. What you did before, it's not the same. Just like people who are fat, just you mentioned, let's say they get used to a 2,000 calorie diet, mm-hmm. and their maintenance is around 3,000. They lose weight until they reach 100, 95, let's say, in my case, and then you need to cut it even more. So you have to increase cardio, you have to look into the details, you have to relax. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to lose fat. And this requires not only calories, as you know.
Yes.
Requires macros, requires a certain lifestyle, requires enough amount of protein, make sure your supplements are on check, make sure you try to optimize everything. Even the 2-3% matters to you. I always believe that the better I want to be, the more I have to push in terms of my knowledge, in terms of my training, in terms of my nutrition. I have to look at the details. And this happened to me before my birthday, because I set a goal, as I told you, before my birthday to be in the best shape. So it was very critical. All the things will be compounded yes, I have a time limit, I have a goal, I have to take care of every single thing that goes inside my mouth. I took it as if I'm a bodybuilder going on stage.
There's one thing that people don't think about. It's extremely important, and that's not knowledge. It's objectivity. Why do you think professional athletes need coaches?
They need to stay focused.
Exactly. So it's the objectivity of what the coach brings into the training program. It's keeping them on track,
Yes.
which is accountability. But, you know, I always remember this, the argument between Hanya Rambo and Phil Heath. When Kai Green was in the top shape of his life, when he's got the closest to winning Mr. Olympia and beating Phil Heath. And Phil was very nervous. And the argument backstage, right? So Hanya Rambo actually speak about this. And he was so stressed and he was so nervous about losing the title to Kai. And he said to Phil, he said, you need to calm down. This is where stress hormones are going to, kick in. They're actually going to have a negative impact on the way you look and act and behave on the stage.
Crazy.
Do you know? But Phil himself would have not thought about this. This is the objectivity, stepping outside of the emotional moment, seeing the whole picture and then guiding, to get the best results. This is what a coach does, really. Yeah. So anytime you feel like, is this going to work for me? Because it's not so much about right and wrong at this stage. It's about, is this going to work for me? Is it not going to work for me? And when it works, knowing why also helps a lot. So you have a friend, anything you need, just let me know. And
I am honored. I'm thankful.
no, thank you. Honestly, I would. It's really good and refreshing to see someone that is as passionate about the industry as I am. It's really nice, and I feel like you're gonna change your career at some point, right?
Let's see. I'm a big fan of having multiple sources of income. So let's see how it is.
Sweet. Maybe we have a business conversation to have. This is the calories. Really, what I said about what I wanted to say about the calories. Let's dive a little bit more into the gym, the routine. So you started on pro split, right? I say something about this. The best routine that you can follow in the gym is the routine that you can be consistent with. Like you said, you can do it in 30 minutes, right? You can structure a workout that doesn't take a lot of time, that you can do at home if you can't go to the gym, and you can still get very good results. At least to kickstart the transformation. And once you see the results, you would be willing to give it more effort. Because most people are skeptical in the beginning. They don't want to put in too much effort, because they don't know it's going to work, right? So what if I do all this and then it doesn't work? So they don't start. A better way to think about this, a lot smarter, is to do something, and then when you see the progress, you'll understand it will make sense. You'll be willing to invest more time into it. But is bro split the most effective routine versus something else that will maybe give you more in less time? I'd say no. There's probably more effective things that you could do. But the reason it worked for you is because you were able to be consistent on it. Because there wasn't a lot to think about. It's a simple routine to follow. You can go down the gym and you have very simple few compound movements and isolation movements that you can do. They're easy to perform. And that allowed you to be consistent, which I would say the most important thing. If you can't do that, if you can't be consistent, don't start the routine, because it won't work. And if it works for a week, you're not going to do it the next week. So what's the point? So again, one of the things that need to evolve and change over time as you get more advanced, and it never means because it worked to start with, it doesn't mean it's going to work, going forward. But the start, in my opinion, is the most important thing. Weight training is intense. It's very demanding on the body. So did you feel like you struggled with performing in the gym, recovering? Did you dread going for a next session, or were you excited and you wanted to go back?
I've always, since I started this time, I even have a video of me filming with my friend. I just go back to it sometimes. This time it feels different. This time I want to go. I want to enjoy. And the more you go, you more train yourself mentally and physically to actually train to failure, to actually push, to actually make the sets matter. I enjoy it. I like it. I am half of the time training, half of the time looking at myself in the mirror.
Nice. Sweet.
This is my routine.
Are you sure it's not the hair? Because the hair is quite cool too.
I have a couple of hairstyles when you get to see me again. But you caught me on the bad hair day today.
No. I had a very similar style to you.
Yeah,
before I grow my hair that long.
Really? I'm trying to grow it too.
Yeah.
So in the same page, I guess.
You have this phase in the middle where you look like an idiot for a little while, and then it looks good.
I've always had an issue in my journey,
right,
which is when I fuck up and eat something, I eat a huge amount of food. So how do you think someone should go by it? Like by cheat meals or cheat days? Obviously, there is no, cheat days is an overstatement. Cheat meals, cheat days, treats. How do you think a normal human being with a normal lifestyle, who has family, friends, blah, gatherings, how can we approach that?
I'm going to give you a framework of what actually works. Stage dependent again. Usually, the leaner you are, the more you can get away with because you have better insulin sensitivity. If you indulge for a whole day on carbohydrates and you're lean, you can handle it. You're fine. But if you do the same thing when you're fat, you can't handle it. Okay? Now,
can you define by not handle it?
Okay.
What do you mean?
Hormonally, the way your body reacts to the same kind of food, the same amount of carbohydrates that you ingest in 24 hours is better when you're leaner because you're more insulin sensitive when you're leaner. Okay? The psychological benefit is totally different. Now, this is physiologically what we just explained. Psychologically, some people need something to look forward to. And this is not an understatement. Without this, you would not continue in the program, which I feel in that scenario is beneficial. However, if it puts you completely out of control, meaning you can't control yourself when you see a pizza or an ice cream, there's a deeper issue that you need to address. Okay? Possibly because you lived all your life loving these foods, overindulging in these foods, etc. But there will be a point where you need to address it and confront it head on. Otherwise, they will cause a bigger issue than vanity. They will make you sick at some point because you remain under the threat of losing control, the entirety of control around food. When you go on holiday, for example, and in all-inclusive resort, what do you do then? You can't control yourself. So what are you going to do? So you have to address the issue, which is I need to work on myself to be able to control myself around food and pick what I believe I need. There is a benefit that most people don't talk about. Cheat meals, they often talk about the psychological benefit, which I just explained. It keeps you going for 2 weeks because you have a cheat meal, a pizza to eat at the end of the 2 weeks, which is fine. But there are some physiological benefits to cheat meals, which is when you diet too hard for too long, your hormones don't regulate, which also means your metabolism slows down. You will be more effective when your hormones are working properly, and cheat meals do that. They upregulate your hormones, which means your metabolism will work faster.
Interesting.
Okay? So if you program a nutrition program for someone, what I would do is I will tie that to a day where they do a heavy workout so they can earn the carbohydrates they will eat. Okay? And the best cheat meal you can have is a carbohydrate-rich meal or 2 meals. And I will put these meals around the workouts, especially if you have excess fat still, because your body can deal with the carbohydrates better and you still get the hormonal benefits that you get from eating these foods without causing the damage. And you can also use, your body, when you deplete your muscles after a heavy weight training or a hard weight training workout, your muscles are ready to take in all the carbohydrates that you're eating, which then makes your body less likely to store the carbohydrates as fat. Does that make sense?
So they store them as glycogen.
Glycogen.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Interesting.
So that's a huge physiological benefit. And you also speed up the rate in which your body burns fat for the next however many days. That differs between, person to person. But your metabolism will be faster for maybe a week after that meal.
When you lose the weight, lose the fat, and you become someone who is like me, I like bodybuilding, I like to have a nice physique, I like to be lean. What is an actual realistic body fat percentage to maintain or to look forward to?
Okay.
And what is some tips for this to maintain? I don't want to be fit. I want to have a nice physique. Obviously, I will not be shredded all year round, but something that is realistic and to look forward to.
Amazing. So what's realistic when it comes to body composition goals? There are 2 most common goals that I hear all the time from the people that I work with. Let's talk about men. Some of them say, I want to look athletic, right? Very few tell me they want to be big, right?
Yeah.
It's not the most common goal. It's legit, right? To pack on as much muscle as possible.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good goal. It's very hard to do, and it's very ambitious. But the vast majority of people, the average Joe, they just want to look athletic. What does athletic mean? Lean to a degree, where they have at least flat stomach and nice white shoulders and good looking arms and a t-shirt in the summer, and nice chest. That's what they really mean by that.
It's around like 15 to 20% body fat.
I call this average, right?
Yeah.
But to look good with your t-shirt off, that's a different story. You need to be closer to the 10% mark. So 10% you'll see your abs, okay? But 12% you see the lines around your abs, and it's much more comfortable to maintain, which is where I advise people to be. If your goal is a lifestyle change, this is where you need to live, around the 12% mark. You don't need to be too strict to maintain it. You can keep it with a very average, low frequency training routine and just eating clean once you get there. But here's what I actually advise people when they get in shape. I would say to you and anyone else who's trying to do the same thing, get as lean as you possibly can. Raise the ceiling of your ambition as much as you possibly can. So get in an insane shape once. Just once. Do it once. Do you know why? It resets your standards. It changes your identity about yourself. Just like the time when you saw the 2 abs that you told me about, and it was amazing feeling, the same thing will happen. And then from there, it will be very hard for you to go back to being fat. You can't do it because your identity will change. So getting in the best shape of your life, let's say 7% body fat when you're super lean and your abs are sharp, decent amount of muscle mass in your physique, and you look super, beastie, okay? And you're so proud. That serves for you psychologically as the new standard for Raja. Going from there to being 20% body fat is nearly impossible at this point. But being 12, you say, yeah, I still look good, I'm comfortable. I keep it here. Because there is a trade-off. What people don't think about before they start the journey, there is a trade-off of maintaining an insanely lean physique all year round. It's not easy. It's very hard. And to be honest, I don't think it's mentally good. I think people really struggle mentally when they, if they try to push themselves to the limit all the time. It's not good. Especially if you have a job, businesses, family. It takes over your life.
Yeah, I believe it's very exhausting. I experienced that when I sort of aggressively cut. It becomes exhausting.
Yes,
I would say. But
this is why bodybuilders are fucked when they finish the sport.
Yes,
they have social issues. They're destroyed, they're tormented. They're not actually confident. Like you see them on the stage and they're posing like gods. They're not when they finish the sport. They have issues.
For me, another question that always comes to mind, like, what is the potential? But the potential, I know myself that I have to try, I have to do, but there is always this, question that comes to me.
The potential for you?
Yeah. Can I be big? Especially when someone who is not considering to take PEDs, gonna stay natural, as healthy as possible.
Okay. So how far can you push your body?
Yes.
Here's the good news.
Yeah.
Your body has no choice. Think of your body like this. It's a machine. It responds to whatever you put in it and whatever stimulus you apply to it. Okay? So if I give you a routine that is supposed to produce this kind of results, obviously there's a part of the equation that is not static, which is your body, which is genetically different to the next. So I get a Nigerian guy in the gym, they touch the weights and they get really big in like 2 weeks. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I know.
I've been training for 18 years now. But my goal, again, my goal was never to be big. I never wanted to be huge because I know there are health implications that come with that, which I'm not happy with. But for you and anyone else who has big goal, you will get there if you do the right thing. And this is the short answer to this. For some people, it takes longer. And for some people, you need more patience. If you're an ectomorph, hard gainer, as the saying goes in the industry, it will take you more time. But hard gainer means, this is a huge topic, but let me touch on this because there's a lot of misconceptions about this particular thing. Hard gainers are not actually hard gainers. They're easy losers. So what makes hard gainers is because they lose muscle quicker than they build them, which creates another issue. The way to counter that is to focus on food, not training. Rest more, recover more, and the turnover of tissue in an ectomorph body is actually quicker, which means you can build muscle quicker than an average person. Your problem is you lose it too quickly because your metabolism is too damn fast. So that's how you fix it. You see, you flip the equation, you say, I lose quickly, so I need to counter that with, I need to eat more, I need to sleep more, and then you end up getting big. Quicker, right? But if you fall on that, extreme genetic profile, you just need to give yourself more time and accept it. It's okay. It's something you can't really change, but you can work on over time and you can achieve what you want. when you get there, you know, you'll like, you know, if you like it enough to continue making the trade-offs. But if you don't, and I think the same goes for you, now you're looking at me and say, how far can I take my body? As far as it makes you happy. And then when you're there, you will realize the trade-off and you realize how it makes you feel. And then you make an informed decision whether you want to keep it or take a couple of steps back.
But I am with you with the get in the best shape ever.
Yes.
Hopefully, and I'm on the track. Yeah, I reached my birthday. I was happy.
I think you will.
I have another goal, which is the beginning of the year. Let's see what I can do since then. No, yani not. I'm used to it.
I think, okay, so to put this in the correct order, get to around, I don't know what your body fat percentage is now and what method you use to measure that, but I would say get around maybe the 15% mark.
I think I am around 15%.
Yeah? Okay, good.
I think I am around 15%.
Now, from here, you have to take it in stages, in cycles. You have a cycle, say 6 to 8 weeks, which you build muscle, then you reverse diet.
6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you reverse diet.
You reverse diet. So you go the other way. So you try to get leaner for another 6 to 8 weeks. I say 6 to 8 weeks, it's a minimum of 6, maximum of 12, because that's where your body starts to stagnate, adapt to what you're doing, right? But 8 weeks is what I found the peak for most people. So if you keep switching at 8 weeks, you will make a lot more out of these cycles in terms of gains and fat loss. Does that make sense?
So increase your caloric intake every 8 weeks?
Yes, not just the caloric intake. There's a few factors. You're around 15 now, so you can probably handle some advanced techniques. I would increase the frequency of your meals, and I will make sure they're clean. And I will cycle carbs maybe. Around this time, I will start cycling carbohydrates, depending on the kind of carbs that your body really responds to, because most people just eat grains like rice. And that's okay. So some people take this well and some people don't, but you need to kind of gauge how your body, what you were explaining earlier about your body retains a lot more water with carbohydrates. There's subcutaneous water retention, which sits under the skin.
Yep, exactly.
If that is you, then grains won't really serve you, and you probably need to eat the carbs, most of the carbs that you eat around the training time. Does that make sense? So you start paying attention to all these small details and you adapt. In the bulking phase, it needs to be as clean as possible, and never promote dirty bulks or gaining fat.
I agree with that.
Because it fucks you up. Hormonally it does, right? And you end up setting yourself back for the getting lean phase. It just doesn't serve you. And you end up really slowing everything down. So lean as clean as possible, and then drop your body fat percent. You will gain some fat, by the way, while you're carbon. What I'm saying is, you know, it doesn't mean you will keep 100% clean. You will gain some fat.
No, for sure. It's a bulk, so it comes with
the
a bit
question
of
is how much,
yeah. It comes with some fat. I'm totally. When you're in that kind of shape, if I get that lean, I get to 10 or 7 or 8 or whatever I can. It's okay. I understand that.
Yeah, but there's also something that is really beneficial about this psychologically. It keeps it exciting because you're switching goals every 8 weeks.
Yes.
You don't get bored. And with that, you change your training routine, you add a little bit of cardio, etc. And it keeps it exciting. You don't get bored. It's nice. It's much more fun.
Yeah.
Why do you want to get to that final shape that you want to get into?
I've always wanted to.
But why?
I think it's relates to a point I mentioned earlier, which is potential. I want to see what is my potential.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you think it will affect your life when you realize your full potential?
It's gonna make me mentally sharper. It's gonna make me want to get into more ambitious goals, knowing that I've achieved this, which was a very, very out of reach goal for me.
Yeah.
It will help me. It will help me dress better. It will help me feel better. It will help me wake up better. And I think the point you mentioned about staging is very important to a lot of people, especially people that have a similar personality of mine. I'm a very do not just tell me what to do kind of guy.
Tell me why.
Yeah, tell me why, teach me, coach me, tell me why. Let me learn the hard way. I don't mind, but don't just give me information. So I just started gradually everything. You noticed I told you I started with the food first. Then I started the gym. So then I started doing cardio and started getting more into the food. So I took it in stages.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that this works with me.
You have to understand the physiology of your body and then connect that to the most effective thing. So when we talk about what you're really saying, people don't know where the fuck to start. And this is really what I see every day, okay? So people are lost, and this is why they need coaches, right? You were smart enough to take the initiative to go to do some research and then to make a start, right? This is not most people, though, okay? the staging concept I would not apply to anyone, any male above 15% body fat, and any female that is above maybe 22% body fat. And the reason is because there's no benefit. They just need to focus on one thing, and that is to get lean enough to a healthy point.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we can start looking, how are we going to get them to look good? For me, the metric is health. Everything you do has to promote health. It has to give you better health than you had before started doing it. Mm-hmm. And the reason this is so important, because I think about this myself. When I'm 80, I don't want to look back and regret what I did. If you're smart enough, you should be training to be healthy, to feel young forever until you die, and to be able to do the activities that people your age, when you're 85, 90, can't do. This is the ultimate reward. And you have to think forward like that. So for example, packing too much muscle on your frame is really counterproductive to your health, given the methods and how you get there. And having fat on your body like this, it gets harder to lose the fat as you get older. So why not do it when you're young?
Exactly.
Why not set the standards now so you grow healthier?
Mm-hmm.
Why not do that?
This is what actually triggered something in me. I remember very well, very vividly, on my 28th birthday 2 years ago. It triggered something in me.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be like this when I'm older. The way I am right now, by 40, by 50, I'm going to be
even better.
If I continued the same old lifestyle, I would have been in a very bad shape.
Yes.
Disease, the mobility, how you move.
100%. Unescapable.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't want to be that. Knowing who I am from the inside, that is a side of me that not a lot of people know. I knew that I'm going to do it, and I did it.
Yeah. And it's all positives.
Yeah.
And in fact, what people consider to be hard, i.e. negatives, is actually positives. And you realize that once you start doing it. So can you sum up to me what you consider the most valuable piece of advice to someone who's considering to start on the same journey that you did?
Invest in learning more about nutrition and training and your body, because this is a skill we should all have for a lot of reasons. You got to start, and you got to hold yourself accountable, which is something that is getting rarer by the day. Not only in fitness, a lot of things, I'm sure you know. Holding yourself accountable will make you Superman or Superwoman, I would say. Because this is the moment where you will start actually changing. You will start looking at your negatives and adjusting them. You will start taking feedback differently. You will start becoming less defensive of who you are. You don't have to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah.
So it's all in the mind, starts with self-love, starts with taking care of yourself, and trickles down to the cycle we discussed very in detail, I think, in this podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah. After talking to me, what would you give as advice or tips to anyone, and how would you sum it up?
What you've achieved is very impressive, honestly, given that you've done it on your own. I do feel, however, with the right kind of mentoring, you would have done it quicker and better, as it is the case, right? So I always look for mentors in everything that I do. People that have demonstrated success in the area that I'm pursuing, which I feel is very important. However, for anyone that is looking to start, don't overload yourself. So understand where you are and what kind of commitment and the amount of that commitment you can give to this journey. Knowing your health is the base of everything that you're going to do in your life. And unless you start looking after it now, it's only going to get harder in the future. So start with whatever means you have. And if hiring someone to help you on the journey is necessary and you know it's only going to work this way, then that's what you need to do, and you need to prioritize that. And if you don't feel like you need that and you can make a start, that's what you need to do. Have a goal. Just to sum up the advice really quickly. Be clear on where you're going. So say to yourself, I want to do this by this time. And then this is the best of my knowledge now, and start to what you understand. And then as soon as you start seeing a little bit of progress, then continue. And it's one thing I've never known anyone to regret, to get fitter and healthier.
That's amazing.
It's really nice to meet you.
Same here.
And we'll talk again. I promise I will make to you. Next time I'm in Dubai, because I'm flying tomorrow, we're going to get down the gym and we're going to do a session together.
Amen. I can never say no to our gym session.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe a cheat meal afterwards.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.